welcome back. I'm joined by Championship correspondent Pascal Ahmed to preview Saturday's match between Blackburn and Brighton. Pascal, start with the home side, so their playoff hopes extinguished last time against Brentford.
Yeah, it's all but over really, isn't it? That was a massive game against Brentford, obviously the side at the bottom of the playoffs. They could have potentially cut the gap to 5 points. I mean, it would have been 7 with Ipswich winning, but even so, 7 points would have been, doable with 8 games of the season left, but it's now 11, and it's hard to say that they've got any chance to get into the playoffs really, because Wolves, Ipswich, Brentford, Derby, all the teams above them are looking pretty good, and it almost looks like an 8-horse race now, almost for sure, for those playoff places. But the game itself, they had the lead twice in that game, and to not come out on top, very disappointing. They can feel a bit hard done by with the equaliser. It was a deflection that went in from Chris Long, and obviously Gusted came back into the team. He's sort of been rested. He hasn't restarted Rhodes and Gusted many times this season, but Gusted came in, scored a great goal. Taylor scoring just before half time to put them 2-1 ahead, and from there I think you would have expected them to go on, because they've looked really good of late, obviously holding Liverpool at Anfield, and they've had a few other good results as well. But like I said, 11 points behind the playoffs now. Their chance of getting into them is gone, but they're still in the FA Cup. They've got that replay at home against Liverpool on April the 8th, so I think that's going to be the main focus now. It has to be, because unless an amazing set of results happen, unless they win almost all of their games and the sides above them really falls, there's no chance they can get into the top 6. So the chance, to go to Wembley, the chance to get to Wembley to go to that semi-final, if they can beat Liverpool, they've beaten Swansea at Ewood Park already this season in the Cup, so that's a big chance for them. And Gary Bowyer, I'm sure, I'd be very surprised if he keeps saying the focus is still the league, because it can't be. That chance to beat Liverpool is a massive one, and they have to try and put all their eggs in that basket and try and take it. So that's where the focus will be now. It's still been an okay season, obviously a top half finish, but with the quality there, Bowyer will be disappointed that they're probably out of the playoff race now.
Moving on to the visitors, they went to the match for the back of a very disappointing draw at Millwall.
Yeah, obviously that's a chance against a Millwall side who had lost 5 in a row going into that game. That was a real chance to put real distance between themselves and the bottom 3, but it was a 0-0 draw. It's not going to the Den. People say it's a tough place to go, but this season it hasn't been. Millwall they've been poor at home. They've been poor overall. Only Blackpool, terrible Blackpool, are below them in the league. So Brighton not to go there and win. It's 3 without a win now for them, and they're struggling for goals as well. Craig McCall-Smith, his goal drought has been well documented. He hasn't scored in ages, and they are struggling, but it looks like they'll be fine. They'll finish about 18th, 19th in the table, but considering the last 2 seasons they've been in the playoffs, it is disappointing. But Chris Hughton, he's come in, he's steadied the ship since he arrived, and now he'll sort of start, hopefully if he can maybe get a win here, or maybe get a win in the next couple, they can start looking ahead to next season, start building for next season. But they're only at 8 above the drop zone now, so they still look pretty safe, unless the sides in the bottom 3 like Millwall or Wigan, unless either of those start to really go on a run, they should still be fine. But on the whole, it's been a disappointing season.
So Blackburn will probably fancy their chances at home. Do you think they'll win this one?
Yeah, I think that Blackburn have to fancy their chances really. Brighton, like I said, there's not that much for Brighton to play for, although with Blackburn all their focus being on the FA Cup, but this is obviously the last game before the international break, so Gary Bowyer will say to his players, look, this is really important, and then after the international break it will be all eyes on the Liverpool game. But I think for this one Blackburn have to be favourites, and I think they'll win 3-1.
So we're also going for a 3-1 Blackburn win.